All right, everybody, it's the Arty 84 show live here, episode 188. And as always, to the left of me, Adam the Mallet.
Namaste.
Okay, namaste. And tonight we should have a special guest joining us, if the weather should permit it. Canadian local legend, YouTuber, and probably I would say the second most famous person in Canada. Frankie MacDonald should be joining us tonight. And we'll get more if he does join us. I told him I don't see him in the queue for the waiting room. He is in Atlantic time, which I've never spoken to someone in Atlantic time before, so this is gonna be very interesting. So they're an hour ahead of us, but he was well aware that it was 8 o'clock New York time. So there you go. So he should know. So we'll see. We'll get the waiting room going up here. We're waiting, but it's 188 episodes of this. I guess you could say quality programming. But some would disagree with us, I would say.
Oh, I'm sure many would.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of girls out there that call us, "You're narcissistic."
Whatever. I'm a sexist pig. Oink, oink, baby. What are you going to do? Ladies, if you don't get the sense of humor that we provide at this show, then you just don't get anything at all. Because I'm going to tell you one thing. We're not feminists at all. We do love the ladies. We do appreciate the ladies. We do respect the ladies.
Yeah.
Although, speaking of ladies, something today was made my day. It made my day. I was so happy when I woke up this morning and I seen the news. So the women's U.S. soccer team. I don't ever root against the USA. Ever. Never. I'm 100%. I love this country. I love the USA. I got a flag in front of the house. Respect everyone. But I don't like people who disrespect the USA. So I and when that comes across, I get very, I take that to heart. So the two teams for the Olympics I'm not rooting for whatsoever. The men's basketball, because they're a bunch of pompous assholes, and the women's U.S. soccer team, which today was just, so nice. If you didn't see the news, they lost 3-0 to the Swedes, and the Swedes, that team is just full of beautiful blonde women. If you didn't see their lineup, yeah. It's fucking great. But what I didn't know, I was happy that they lost 3-0. But then I was reading more into it. Apparently before the game, they all nailed during the national anthem like a bunch of Colin Kaepernicks. And apparently they were still nailing 90 minutes later because they lost 3-0 by the Swedes. And that clown, I don't even know her name. The one who always colors her hair purple or pink.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she looks like a clown.
Either,
and she's terrible. Her Facebook's full of anti-American stuff. So what I just want to say to her, and all I really want to know is be like, if you don't like the country so much, then why are you playing for this country? I'm sure you could go to any country in the world and play for their soccer team. I'm sure they would invite you because they would probably want someone who's talented. And she's a good soccer player. I'm not going to bash her on her athletic ability, but I'm going to bash her on who she represents to play. If you did not want to play for the New York Yankees and you were playing for the New York Yankees, wouldn't you ask for a trade? Wouldn't you want to go somewhere else? So if you do not like him playing for the team that you're playing for, why don't you just go somewhere else? It's as easy as that. You could go any way you want.
Yeah, do something about it.
You know, and a perfect example of this is the Greek freak, Giannis Galopoulos. I can't even pronounce his last name. The guy on the Milwaukee Bucks, too. They're now the world champion, NBA champions right there. He is the one NBA player that I actually really respect because his story is really impressive. The guy came from Nigeria or somewhere, I believe it was Nigeria, somewhere in Africa, and it was an oppressed nation. He goes to Greece, becomes a citizen up there. He's literally hustling like T-shirts and sneakers on the streets of Athens, right? Just to try to make a living for his family. The guy's a giant, talented basketball player.
Yeah. And
he makes it into like the Greek national teams. He's drafted by the NBA. The Celtics could have had him, but we picked long-haired, the number one most famous Canadian, Kelly Olynyk, instead. And the rest is history. But this guy goes out there. He busts his ass all the time. Yeah, he's a little, whiny like some of the all-stars are, but he's not as tolerable as most of them are, right? The guy goes out there, kicks ass, finally gets a championship. Some breaks went his way, which is it's sports, right? People win when breaks go your way. Yeah. And he wins the championship. And he beats people like whiny Chris Paul on the Suns, who's basically was a LeBron guy who just, I'm going to move to a different team every year and try to create an all-star team. And yeah, I guess Giannis could have probably left when he wanted. He could have demanded a trade. He could have been like Kawhi Leonard and be like, "Oh, get me out of here. I don't want to play." But no, he stuck it out in shitty Milwaukee, one of the worst cities in the country, one of the worst sports cities in the country. But they won. And now Michael Felger of Boston Sports Radio is all excited because his team finally won after fucking 50 years. So
they should hire that GM because that goes to show that, like, you know, it's not a well-known city, but they win. Exactly. The GM's doing something right.
And they got some players. I mean, they got Westbrook, right, who was in Oklahoma City for all those years. I mean, they built a decent team. It's a solid team. They've been good for the last 5 to 6 years. No doubt about that. And in all sports, yes, they caught a break. Brooklyn being partially injured, playing a shitty Atlanta team in the East. You not have to play in Utah in the West in the finals. I mean, you get your breaks. But you can say that about any sports team that wins a championship, right? Could you not? I mean, the Red Sox have won World Series. The Patriots have won Super Bowls.
Whoa.
What happened?
I don't know. No, I just lost, like, my monitor.
Fucking hey.
I'm losing everything. What the hell's happening?
Are you having a conveyor meltdown? I know why. Because they must have heard what we were talking about prior to sports.
What the fuck just happened?
About the Dick Rockets. The Dick Rocket people are listening to you.
This is like the first time I'm having technical difficulties.
Having technical difficulties. Must be
you see me now, right?
I see you. I can hear you clear and loud. I think you're getting technical difficulties because the Dick Rocket people are fucking with you.
That could be it. That might be it.
Yeah.
But, before we go to that, though, I just want to say, you turn on the news. I also turned on the news today to see my woman, my Sherry, Sherry Spear.
Did you see her Instagram today? She's wearing an outfit that's a couple years old.
I definitely did. I did. I was on her Instagram. You know what it is,
From Florida?
You know
yeah.
I think I like about her is that, like, when she talks, she actually sounds, like, passionate.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think there's something kind of hot about a chick that, like, actually sounds passionate about what she does and is mildly attractive. Like, I remember I was watching even freaking, like Hangar 1, like the UFO files, and there was this chick who was like maybe like a 6, but she's like talking like so passionate about UFOs and research, and I'm like, oh my god, you're gorgeous. Like, she just sounded really hot.
She's got that girl next door look to her.
Exactly.
I think she's from
like that Anna Kendrick.
Yeah. That's my Hollywood crush right there. She's my number one. Her and Anne Hathaway, those two are my number 1 and 2 right there. I don't know what about them.
Anne Hathaway looks like a cunt though. Like, she just looks like a bitch. She's probably a bitch.
She's probably like the character she played. She was in The Devil Wears Prada, right? She's probably like the character that was her boss, which was Glenn Coates, right?
Yeah,
she was the boss.
Like she looks like a snob.
Yeah, but she's, I mean, you deep down inside, you wish. Anna Kendrick, I think I heard, was a little bit of a, beachy.
But she seems more like approachable.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway looks like a girl who was in drama class who was like thought she was cooler than she was. Like, that's how I feel about Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick.
Anne Hathaway. And she's got 2 looks too. If you don't notice, she's got the nerdy look, which you can go full nerd if you wanted to. But like when she was like Catwoman in that Batman movie, was that Catman or Batwoman?
Yeah.
It was Catwoman,
that
right?
That was a Batman. It was a Batman movie. Yeah.
She could look like, damn, girl, you wearing that leather? Shit.
Yeah. Well,
but I mean, nothing can compare to local Boston 25 News morning weather girl. So
no,
I mean,
no, not at all. Oh, my Sherry.
Maybe you could, maybe one day you guys could date. Maybe she gets a divorce. She just leaves her husband. I think she's been with her husband since they were like 14 years old or something like that. They're like high school sweethearts or something. From what I dug deep into, but you never know. Anything is possible, right? Shit.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He's just pissing in the wind.
That's the one thing about Fox though. Fox News in Boston does employ a very attractive woman. You know what I mean?
Usually. Yeah.
It's probably the best looking news channel in all of the Boston area, I would say. Which is good, which is pretty high on the level for good looking girls for the entire country, because you figure Boston's like a top 15 market, right, for the country. So you want to put your best. I'm always surprised when I'm in like New York City or something like that, like one of those big cities, and I'm looking at their news, and like the anchor people are very non-attractive, and I'm like, aren't you guys supposed to be picking like the top of the specimen level?
It's weird like that.
It's like, why am I looking at like this like guy with a gap between his tooth on the fucking 5 o'clock news in New York? But
that's true. It's very true.
We're about to get to Dick Rockets.
Yes, Dick Rockets, assholes in space.
Assholes in space. Now, listen. I'm all about spending money if you have it, buying stupid shit. I'm all about Nick Cage. Buying stupid shit, right? I'm all about that. I have nothing. If you have the money, I don't expect you to give that money to anyone. I'm not one of those people like, you have so much money, you should just be giving it to everyone. If you had so much money in the world, you could just pay for everyone. Like when Bloomberg... Like
Noel today?
Yeah. It's very communist thinking and socialized thinking of you. Like when you think about it, like when Mike Bloomberg ran for president, he spent like $500 million and he didn't even get like 1% of the vote. And people were like, man, he could have gave everyone like a couple dollars each, you know, and whatever. He could have, but I don't expect him to, and I wouldn't want him to, and I wouldn't expect people to think that as me as well, because if you made that money, especially if you and I were talking about, if you made that money and you were self-made, right, and that money was just, you earned it, you developed a company, you did what you needed to do, and you became a billionaire on your own without, you know, unlike most politicians whose family comes from money, like the Kennedys, for example. Like, money like that, like, that's not made money. That's, like, you know, privileged money, right?
I have trouble, though, because I do feel like I'm slowly starting to become communist. Not so drastically, but at some point, though, like, it's just too much fucking money, dude. Like, do you really need all that? Here's the thing. If we lived in a perfect world, which we don't, I'm saying this is hypothetical, this doesn't exist, what I'm about to say, but let's pretend we could trust our government.
Okay.
And our government had the best intentions.
Yeah.
I do feel like people who make Bezos level, that's like 1%. Bezos is like in a world of his own. There's like nobody close to him, barely anybody. So that's like maybe, I don't know, it's less than 1% of people. That's just too much fucking money. I would think that at some point there's a threshold that at some point more money goes to the government. That's just if we trusted the fucking government. It's just too much fucking money, dude. Nobody should have that.
That's not the problem. The problem is, if you just said to every person in the United States, right, no matter how much you make, no matter how much, if you made $100 or you made $1 billion, your taxes are just 5%. Just 5% would be enough. Because, I mean, you and I are probably getting about 30% taken out of our taxes, right? We're just fucking, we're struggling to be above lower middle class. But like, the more money you make, the less taxes you get taken out of, which proportionally doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You would think it would be the opposite, right? But let's put that all aside. Let's go into a solid. You're clearing delete and you're starting from scratch. If you just said every single person, no matter if you made $100, which would be $5, 5%, or you made $1 billion, which would be $5 million. If that was the case, and that was your tax rate for everyone, it would be fine, because no matter how much money you made, you were still paying your share in a percentage-wise, right? And everyone would be happy at the end of the day, and then there would actually be more money put into the system, because it doesn't matter how much you make, you're still only taking 5% of that away. So in your mind, you're saying, okay, well, I'll make $2 billion this year, and I'll just have to pay a little bit more, but it won't make a difference because I'm still not getting if that was the way of thinking, it's just too logical thinking, right? I guess that makes too much sense. Yeah. But there's always little loopholes and stuff where I don't have to pay this. If I make so much money, I don't have to do this and all that. Then you get people to keep it under the table and stuff like this. I mean, I'm just thinking in an ideal world, this would make sense, but obviously it's not going to happen. It's too late. Unless you started another country, which is, I think at this point is too late because everything's pretty much been territorialized. Yeah. But I mean, that's the way of thinking. Then Jeff Bezos making $1 billion doesn't really give a fuck because he's paying his share. If everyone's paying their share, it's all good.
Yeah, all good. It's like he goes through a divorce, makes his wife one of the most richest women in the world by divorce, and he doesn't even bat an eye, and it's still one of the richest man in the world, publicly anyway, which, by the way, he's the most publicly richest man in the world, because some of these Saudi guys who own a ton of oil, they're worth a hell of a lot more than Bezos. Bezos is publicly one of the most richest people in the world.
Well, it's funny. It's funny when you think about it too. It's like a guy gets divorced. Like Bezos, what, in his 50s maybe, late 50s maybe. I don't know how old he is exactly, but anyways, he gets a divorce and he's middle aged, right? Most guys who are middle aged will buy a Corvette, and that's their big expense, right? A nice $65,000 sports car, and it's bright red, and everyone's loving it. It's like, oh, I got my sports car. You know, that's my midlife crisis or my post-divorce gift to myself, right? So Jeff Bezos, he's not gonna buy a sports car, right? He's gonna go into space for 3 minutes because he can for $28 million. I want to know who the guy who had to cancel his reservation after paying $28 million because he had a business meeting. Like, what kind of business meeting? Or was he just scared? Maybe the guy was just nervous going on a spaceship that's never been used before. But I would feel if I was going with the owner of the spaceship and his brother, I would feel like, well, maybe they figured this shit out. You know what I mean? If the owner was like, nah, I'll go like 5 or 6 flights in, let this work its way out, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to be the first guy up there. But if he's going up there and he's taking his own flesh and blood with him, I'd feel like, well, you know, at least in the back of your mind, you know that unless they had to sign a waiver, that if anything went wrong, your family would be taken care of. You would hopefully think so, right? They probably had to sign waivers. There was probably like
definitely waivers.
Yeah, you're signing everything away. You're on your own risk right now. But I don't know.
But like I was saying to you when we were going for a walk earlier, and I said, like, I don't find this inspirational or uplifting at all. It's like the people in the world dying of starvation. Yet over here in America, this billionaire asshole's flying to space, and everyone's like applauding him. The news is like putting microphones. Oh my god, well, this is so inspirational. How?
It's weird that the news like fucking like piped it all up, because it's like it wasn't like he was even the first civilian person in space, right? Because fucking what's his face did it, Brant.
Well, that's debatable. Some people are debating now if he even went to space, because there's no clear definition of
50 miles up is the common line. That is
there's no definition though.
I know, but like what's understood in the international world is that 50 miles up, I think it's called the common line, is officially space. And what's his face guy went 52 miles up, so he technically crossed the common line.
He went 50 miles. Yeah, 50 miles. 282,000 feet.
So
that was Branson.
That's fucking space. Don't suck a dick, because you're high.
I'll give it to him.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna give it to him.
You're higher than a fucking airplane, right? An airplane
Wait. Bezos went 50 miles. 282,000. I don't know how far Branson went.
I know Branson hit that threshold. Maybe it's 40 miles, not 50 miles. Because I'm not talking like I've only told girls I'm an astronaut in college parties. I'm not actually an astronaut, but you know. I don't even know if it's called the common line. Am I just making that up?
Actually, no, I'm reading right now. It says, Why Blue Origin says Richard Branson didn't reach space. So now we're having a pissing contest between two rich assholes.
Billionaires are going to be pissing on each other.
This is like first world problems right here. This
fuck
is bullshit.
off. You guys went very high in the sky for minutes. For fucking minutes. It wasn't even like it was like they went into space, they were there for a week, they came back down. I would be more...
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I just realized something. If you really think about it, it's kind of pathetic to even celebrate this, considering this is something that was done in fucking 1969.
They sent a fucking monkey up there. A monkey went up there further than them by themselves, and then it came down and he survived.
But a human went in 1969.
Yeah.
And then after the Apollo missions ended, for all we know, never again, space station, obviously. But like they've been doing this. Like I understand the first like civilian...
I would be more impressed if you went into space, you docked with the space station, you went in there, you said hi to everyone, you took a piss, maybe had a meal, you jumped back on Musk's little rocket ship, and you came back down. That would be impressive, because that would be technically, to me, that's what Tom Cruise is doing. Isn't he filming a fucking movie on the space station?
I know that got denied to like he might
I can imagine
space a little bit for a second.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's. I don't.
Because they shouldn't be sending people who are not astronauts into space.
No, people are gonna die. Elon Musk said it a couple months ago. He's like, people are gonna die, and he's right. People are gonna die, but that's fine. It's needed.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in what Elon Musk once said. He's like, the only way we could potentially find out our existence is to explore the cosmos.
Yeah.
And it's true, and as right now, this planet is a death trap.
Mm-hmm.
If anything happens to this planet, our whole species is fucked.
I like the way you think of that. It's a death trap.
Have to find a way off the planet.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you imagine, like, if you're like on the space station and like the planet gets wiped out and you are the only ones alive because you're on a space station above there? So there's like 6 of you there. You know what I mean? And then you just like, all right, we're gonna go back down to Earth eventually. Eventually, they have to leave the space station. There's only so much supplies. Yeah, I agree. It is a death trap. Like, I mean, how many fucking end of the world movies have we seen that you're just sitting there and you're like, put it this way: if you thought the governments had any plan put into position to provide stuff, the last year that just passed should be a clear indication that they have no fucking clue how to handle any situation that goes beyond a basic house fire in your neighborhood.
Yeah, we're not proactive. We're reactive.
They can't handle wars. They can't handle crises of any nature. And then you get a big crisis where people are fucking getting a virus, and none of the nations of the fucking planet can handle this shit. Whether they wanted to handle it, or they can't handle it, or they have no idea how to handle it, we'll never know. Maybe they could have handled it, and they decided not to because they wanted people to die. I don't know. I'm just going out there. I'm not saying they did. I'm just putting devil's advocate right here. But
you know, it'd be fucked up. Wrap your head around this. Let's pretend we could get in a space, shuttle and just fly anywhere in the universe, and you're flying. Think of how many potential planets, single planet civilizations are out there that have been wiped out across the universe. So you're flying. It's like there's a planet, and there's just dead civilizations of bodies of creatures, humanoid, whatever, and just never made it off the planet, wiped out.
I mean, you could just go to Mars. I mean, allegedly Mars had some kind of situation going there before us, right? We don't know, but like it could have. That their atmosphere and the way everything is like a indication that something bad happened there, and Venus is actually very close to what Earth was when Mars was maybe a habitable planet. I mean, we don't know if they're humans. They could just be animals. They could be just cells. They could be something. There's something out there. You got to be out of your fucking mind if you believe. There's two thoughts here. Either one, you're out of your fucking mind and not think there's another living creature out in the universe, or you just don't believe in the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be as simple as that. You could just be like, there's nothing else there. You're a flat earther.
Hologram.
Yeah,
it's a hologram.
It's a hologram. You're in a soundstage. You're fucking Truman Show. Yeah. I mean, there's people that believe that.
That's crazy.
But I mean, it is crazy to think that. But
I think that's crazy.
Who are you gonna trust? You know what I mean? I mean, we could go really deep, right? If you're really, really conspiracy thinking, right? Possibly. Ooh, look who just joined us. Motherfucking Frankie MacDonald just clicked in.
Frankie MacDonald.
But you never know. But I just want to make one point. Do you think Basil, his brother, and that 18-year-old gangbanged that 82-year-old lady up in space to be the first ones to have a fucking orgy?
I don't think they had enough time, and if they did, she would have died on re-entry from a heart attack because
think so?
of that and then that, right?
3 holes, 3 guys. You do the math. What really went on that giant penis-looking spaceship?
With the juicy vein on the side.
Of it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the biggest celebrity we've had on the ID84 show in 188 episodes. And I'm not just saying this. This is probably the one person, maybe one of the porn stars was rival to this. Maybe not.
Outside of porn, Skippy? Is he bigger than Skippy?
Yes, I think he's bigger than Skippy. I don't know that for a fact, but he could be.
Oh, he's definitely bigger than the Bright Sun film guy. Yeah.
Bigger than Eric Powers. And we've had him on a lot.
Yeah, bigger than Bright Sun film dude that we had on. Yeah, maybe.
Or comparable to him. At least it's...
Yeah.
Like, this guy's famous. And he's about to join us right now.
I mean, Canada.
No, he's famous here in the States.
With you. Yeah.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Frankie MacDonald. Canada's own.
I'm doing great so far. I'm an author. Book, be prepared. To find out got a life wire and everything.
Right.
He wastes,
talk about your book.
He wastes no time and plugs. Frankie.
No time. Wastes no time bringing up the book.
So, Frankie, thank you for joining us. You're joining us from Sydney, Nova Scotia. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm from Sydney, Nova Scotia, Canada.
And you're in Atlantic time right now, right? You're the first person.
Yes.
I never spoken to anyone in Atlantic time before, so this is great. This is good for the show. I first found out about you about, I don't know, was it 7 years ago? When you what year were you in Tosh Point when that your video made it?
June 2010.
Okay, so it was about 11 years ago. Okay. And you were doing the weather update that it was going to be bad weather. Cause that's what you do, right?
I do a lot of bad weather to get a dangerous heat wave headed for Idaho on Friday. My most viewed video on my YouTube channel is Guy Tries to Eat 50 Hot Dogs at once. I
did see that. I did see the hot dogs. The Idaho situation going on. I'm not a farmer, but is there a potential that there's going to be a potato famine out there in Idaho? Because they're known for the potatoes. I don't know if heat's good for potatoes.
It's going to be a bad weather in different countries around the world. There's a typhoon headed for China.
A typhoon?
Oh, shit.
To China. That may not necessarily be a bad thing.
That is communists.
Yeah, the communists. We're not a big fan of communists on this show, Frankie. I don't think anyone is, to be honest with you. Except for
like Canada, United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand are allies.
Oh, absolutely. I mean...
And Europe.
I love Canada, by the way. There's no nicer to you than a Canadian and could actually insult you in a more polite way than a Canadian, right?
It's very true.
Norway is another nice country besides Canada.
Is it nice? No, you're going on a world tour eventually, right?
Going to every country in the world.
Any country in the world.
Wow.
I see you every night or every day, I should say, on In Hot Water with
Yes, I'm on a Hot Water
yes.
podcast.
with
I know
Aaron.
Sarah Rusi. She interviewed me, and Kendra Lust is going to interview me before I know it. And what about the Marcella and our friend Alonso? I met them on Hot Water Show.
So were you already on? You're going on Sarah Rusi's show coming up pretty soon, right?
Yes, I was on her show quite a few times.
So she was on this show, like, I don't know, what, 7 years ago when we were back in the day. We were called the Arty and Eric Show. Now, Sarah Rusi's from Boston. She grew up down the street from pretty much a bunch
She
of
gets
us.
nor'easters in the winter months.
We sure do. But she also gets some nor'easters when she's married to that little guy, right? Like, I don't know what he is. He's like a little man. You know what I'm talking about, right? Her husband. He probably was on the show with you guys, right? Yeah.
And I know another guy and I know Marcel is another one. I met them on the Hot Water Show, and I was and I talked to her for the Hot Water Show and things like that.
That's awesome.
Now,
Frankie,
yeah, I'll go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
no, I was going to ask Frankie, what is it about the weather that you like so much? Like, I know you like to give weather forecasts and look at the weather everywhere. Like,
I warn people when there's a storm headed for their area or fires.
You do. That's awesome. I mean, what draws you to that? Like, what do you like? You just like to tell people?
I study the weather models. I analyze those models and things like that. When it's a bad weather headed their way, I warn those people.
Does it make you nervous when you see like a weather condition that's like, whoa, like really bad?
Some people are nervous to go to hockey games because of climate weather.
Yeah.
Get that.
I mean, you live in Canada, so you guys get a lot of winter, especially winter months, right? Your inclement weather.
I got 2 doses of vaccine.
You got 2 doses of the.
Whoa.
Wait.
Fair enough.
Well, were you supposed to get 2 doses, or did you voluntarily get 2 doses?
I got first dose on May 25th, and I
Okay.
got second dose of Moderna on July the 7th. I got both
Okay.
doses of Moderna.
So you're supposed to get 2 shots. It wasn't like you just got like 2 shots of Moderna, then went to got the Howard. I was gonna say the Howard Johnson, the Johnson
like 4.
one.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah, you
4.
probably don't want to do
I
that.
got 2 shots of Moderna.
Did you have any effects? Did it screw you up at all?
Sore
Or?
arm and things like that, possibility. So
Yeah.
a little bit of fever. That means that, and I'm fully vaccinated now.
Well, good for you. Now you're free to travel the world, essentially, right?
That's right. Canada's lifting everything
That's right.
in August. That's right. They haven't. They're a little bit behind in lifting things. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So Adam is French Canadian. He's one of you guys. Are you French Canadian or are you just Canadian?
I'm a Canadian. I know Jews. He's a French Canadian. He works for Talroy, Montreal, Quebec. They interviewed me down the boardwalk last August.
Now, do you?
And Herbie is the camera guy with the tabloid. He works with Jews.
Okay.
That means
He works with Jews.
Tabloid is a video production company in Montreal.
Oh,
And
okay.
that Boris, my own guy, he played my videos in Paris, France, back in October of last year.
And you're
Nice.
an Ottawa Senators fan, right? From what I remember correctly.
Yes, I'm an Ottawa Senators fan. And I did it. My second most viewed video is Guy Try See. Wait a minute, is the guy dancing being chased by gorilla. And my most viewed weather report is major storm that hit South Dakota on Friday, October 4th, 2013. That's my most viewed weather report ever on my YouTube channel.
And you're
That's before the ads took over YouTube. That's before YouTube was changed. YouTube is different than 10 years ago now.
That's true. Very
oh,
true.
big time. Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. Are you monetized on YouTube? I'm assuming you are, right?
Back then, YouTube used to do private messaging and video response back then.
Yeah.
That's right. I like your bobblehead, Frankie. You have a great bobblehead.
I got a
I will
bobblehead
say.
of me.
Okay.
I will say $30 is kind of a high price point.
Well, no, but
$30.
is that 30 Canadian or 30 United States dollars? Because that's a big
USA.
difference.
Oof.
So how does someone get a Frankie MacDonald bobblehead?
Phil Skylar contacted me.
Okay. And how would like Adam and I get them if we want one of those for our collection?
Oh, I got my link tree is Frankie MacDonald.
Okay, so we just click on there, you buy it, and we call it a day. Now, how many different sayings does he do?
I got my own link tree.
Okay, and your bobblehead, how many like different sayings like does it do? Like I can hear it talking in the
3
background.
different sayings.
Okay. That's,
I'm sending you a message now. My link tree.
all right. And when we
nice.
post the
Look at that.
video, we will post that. There you go. Perfect. There you go. It's right on the screen.
It has a link to Frankie Says Pete Prepare shirts and things like that.
Perfect.
I see you're also pumped for the Vancouver Giants hockey, huh?
Yes.
What's Vancouver Giants? What is that? It's like a AHL team or something like that, or
WHL.
WHL.
Junior Hockey League out West.
Gotcha. Okay. And are they the minor league affiliate of Ottawa? Assuming.
Berman. It's like the Birmingham Senators.
Okay. All right. I got you. Okay. Because we got the Bruins here in Boston, and then we have the Providence Bruins, which is our AHL team here in the area.
Yes. Barry Coates and Sue Greyhounds and Oshawa Generals. That's the Ontario Hockey League. That's a major junior hockey league. Cape Breton Eagles. That's a Quebec major junior hockey league.
Are you a Canadian football fan at all? Like the CFL? Do you follow them at all?
I don't think so.
No.
Are you into football?
Like this is the Rough Riders.
Rough Riders, right? Yeah. Now there was 2 teams named the Rough Riders in the Canadian Football League for a little while, and then one of them had to change the name, right? Is that how that went? From my
They
understanding.
still say this Rough Riders.
Okay. And I appreciate Canadian football for the fact they only play 3 downs instead of 4. So it's a little more of a challenge in order to score. The field's slightly bigger, so it makes it a little more difficult in order to score. And Adam and I are fans of Canadian women, and they like Canadian football. So it all works out at the end of the day.
That's true.
Yes, the CFL is the Canadian Football League. You can get Frankie Says Pete Prepare shirts on the Lost Cod website. It's in Frankie Linktree.
This guy just doesn't stop promoting. He's like,
I know he's a worldwide promoter.
no, it's just it's not the wrong for that. You'd really have a good career in like the WWE, because that's all they do is promote. Like every guy just promotes stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like Frankie MacDonald just be promoting your ass off.
Yeah.
So
I promote myself right there.
Adam and I, we just want to make sure, you're getting money for the stuff you're selling, right? Your book, you're getting
Yes.
okay. All right.
That's on my Linktree.
Okay, so you're getting a little bit of percentage of the bobbleheads and stuff. No one's taking
Yes.
advantage of you, and because that'd be terrible. Because we've talked to people in the past who, were not nearly as successful as you, but like they weren't getting what should have gotten for their namesake. You know what I mean? And like that's just terrible because people are fucking assholes out there. And I'm just looking out for you, Frankie, because I do enjoy watching you on In Hot Water. Adam and I have watched your videos. We know you're about. You obviously have a niche that I honestly haven't seen anywhere else on YouTube. So I mean, but
The Hot Water contacted me way back earlier this year.
yeah. Now, what do you think of Gino and Aaron? Do you like those guys? Because I think they're
Yes,
hilarious.
they're nice guys.
Yeah. I think Gino's freaking hilarious. It's a good show. They put you on it pretty much every day, which is nice, right? So you're getting some, some traction on there, right?
Yes.
And if those who don't know, In Hot Water is on the Compound Network, which is
I know
owned.
the Compound Media.
Compound
same
Media?
with the it's the same company as the Creepy Corner Show.
Yes, and
So,
owned by
Frankie-
Anthony Cumia. In case you're from the Opie and Anthony show.
Oh,
Yes.
that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Frankie, I got a question though. Like outside of, other than sports and the weather, what do you like to do in your spare time? Like,
I go to hockey games and go to movies, go to the bars and dance and things like that, and do karaoke
Nice.
at the bars and things like that.
You do karaoke.
What's your favorite karaoke song? What do you like to rock out to?
I did Peaches by the Presidents of the United States of America.
It's a good
Tom
song.
Petty, Tom Petty, Summer Eagles Hotel, California. And I was at the Dooley's in Sydney, Nova Scotia, Steel City in Sydney, Nova Scotia, the Old Triangle in Sydney, Nova Scotia, Black Diamond Bar and Grill in Sydney, Nova Scotia,
Damn.
and Daniels in Sydney, Nova Scotia as well.
So
I will say, Frankie, he's got to be like one of the quickest response. He just knows, Frankie. I give you credit. You just know what to say, man.
Yeah.
This is an action figure of me.
he has an action figure too, Adam. An action. This
like,
kid's
he's like
pretty
ready. There's like nothing we can't ask him. He doesn't have a response for right away.
No,
Frankie, you're just killing it.
I appreciate his mocking ability. I mean, this is like WWE type shit. Like the way you market yourself, and you have it out there. I mean, that's the way to do it, right? I mean, everyone wants to market themselves. I think you're more successful with your marketing campaign than most celebrities at this point. You know what I mean?
I ignore all negative comments. I ignore
Good for you.
the guys-
Fuck everyone.
Good for you.
People, negative comments.
Yeah, no, you should.
No one needs that. Nobody's that.
Look at it this way, though. The way I look at it is if you haven't really made it until you get negative comments. Once you start getting negative comments, that means you made it because there's haters out there. And if you talk
jealous.
they're jealous. And if you talk to most of those people anyways, they're in your same situation. They wanted to do the same thing you want to do. They want popular YouTube videos. They want their own action figures, but they don't have it, so they get jealous, so they bash people who do. And until you hit that point, you got to realize like you've only got those people because you've succeeded in what you wanted to do. So that's awesome on your point, and good for you for just fucking saying fuck those people because they suck and ignoring them, because who the fuck is going to pick on Frankie MacDonald? And you have to be a big asshole to do that. And like that's all serious. It's very serious because people suck.
They do. What's your favorite movie?
Vaccinated in my province. People getting vaccinated in Canada and the States so far.
The States, the vaccination is pretty decent, I guess. Adam's vaccinated.
I'm vaccinated.
I prefer not to say if I'm vaccinated or not because I don't want to be on any record. My cousin.
Frankie, what's your favorite movie?
I saw the movie Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, things like that.
Is that your favorite movie?
It's like a giant gorilla and things like that. Another movie I saw was 2012.
Okay.
Wow.
Adam's a huge movie buff here, so if you're gonna talk to anyone about movies, Adam's the guy to talk to.
I'm the movie guy.
Did you see the new Space Jam yet? Have you seen that one?
Not yet.
No, not yet. No, I will.
I don't think anyone.
Putting it off.
It doesn't look like it's gonna do very well, and it makes me feel better in my life because I'm not a big LeBron fan, and he's no Jordan.
The problem too is that movies. I think people are judging it unfairly too, because you got to remember, like people look at it like when I saw it. Remember that movie's not for us, man. We're adults now.
That's true.
Like, you know what I mean? People it's for
we were kids when
it's
it came
not for
out.
us,
Yeah.
but we're gonna look at that like it doesn't capture the magic as Space Jam did. Of course it doesn't, because we were kids then.
And Frankie, you're our age, right? You were born '84, right? Is that what from my research is correct? 1984.
I was born April 24th, 1984.
Okay, so you're slightly older than me. So I'm an '84 as well. So yeah, so the whole our movie and our general life experiences are probably both similar about what we've seen in life. So you could probably relate to that too. When you were a kid, you were probably a young buck in Sydney, Nova Scotia, watching Space Jam. Probably what was that '95? It came out. We were like in 5th grade or something.
Yes, I saw original Space Jam before.
Yeah, so there you go. So Adam, you're right. I mean, it's tough to compare it to the two. I mean, you got to be a little biased. Here's the thing: the kids want to see it. My kid wants to see Space Jam. I guess I'll let him see it because it's whatever. I'm not going to be happy about it, But I guess like the kids will relate to that movie differently than we related. Because remember when we were watching it was like Muggsy Bogues and Patrick Ewing, and they were in the guys that we were familiar with. And I believe the new Space Jam has guys that the kids would be familiar with these days. I guess that makes them happy.
Yeah, I mean,
let the
you
kids
can't
be
put
happy.
Bill Murray in this one. The kids don't know who the fuck Bill Murray is.
No,
I mean,
Frankie, you a Bill Murray fan? You follow any of his work?
No, I never. Bill Murray, I never heard about him.
No, Bill Murray is he's an American fixture, I guess you could say. Yeah, Caddyshack, Groundhog Day, Royal Tenenbaums. I mean, he's got he's a dark comic, I guess you could say, right, Adam? Would you say he's his comedy's kind of on the dark side. It's not exactly your happy-go-lucky stuff, So,
Frankie, I do have a request. Can you please tell us? Can you give us a Boston forecast right now for tomorrow?
And weather.
What is the Boston weather for tomorrow?
Am I wearing shorts or am I wearing?
The weather forecast for Boston, Massachusetts. It's going to bring lots of thunderstorms on Friday. It's going to be humid and hot in Boston, USA.
Have you been to Boston at all?
No. Former chief meteorologist Cindy Day that used to be on CTV Weather. They used to go down for Christmas trees.
Okay.
But she's not with CTV anymore. Kayla Mitchell is now with CTV Atlantic now.
That's funny you actually said that because the Christmas trees most of us get down here in Massachusetts are from Nova Scotia, to be honest with you. I remember the trucks coming in November from the Nova Scotian Christmas trees.
That means chief meteorologist Cindy Day used to go down there back then.
What's Sydney Day look like? She easy on the eyes? She attractive?
A lot of people are saying Roots and they had a big story about Cindy Day in 2016. I ignored that. She apologized to me.
Oh, she was the don't excuse my language. See you next Tuesday. That was bashing you on social media, saying that you weren't a real meteorologist, all that shit, right? She was a
Really?
fucking bitch. What's wrong with people? The people. There you go. I don't know. That's not very nice. But she did apologize to you.
Yes.
Oh, good. She better have, because that's fucked up.
My family's from Nova Scotia, my dad's side.
Just like that out of in April 1st, 2019, that out of GJ from City, Nova Scotia. He said really rude stuff will be online. CTV News interviewed me for that.
Yeah. I'm going to go on a stretch here. I don't know how much you're familiar with this, but how do you feel about the Canadian government controlling the media up in Canada? Because their excuse is that there's media companies can't afford themselves. Do you feel like you're getting 100% accurate information when you watch the CTV?
That means they're trying their best. CTV is Bell Media. CBC is... It's different.
Yeah. So I don't know. Down in the States, we have like ABC, NBC, CBS. So what do they have in Canada for your news? Like, what's your like networks that they have in Canada?
Yeah,
Canadian
what do you like
television.
To use?
Canadian
Is that what you
television.
mostly watch to get your weather?
The Weather Network, AccuWeather, the American Weather Channel, Weather Underground.
I-
And I study the weather models.
I love the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel. I've been watching the Weather Channel since I was a kid. I used to be fascinated with it because I almost became went to school for meteorology. It was like
Really?
yeah, when I was a freshman in college, I thought about it, and I probably wouldn't be here right now because I probably can't do dick jokes on the air with Adam if I'm a meteorologist in any major network. So maybe it's for the best of it. You know what I mean? So.
So, Frankie, I got a question. Did you have like a partner? Like, who films you when you're making your videos? Is it just you?
I just put the camera on bleachers.
Okay.
Okay, whatever works. Hey, it works, Scout. Yeah.
So on your
No
world,
tigers. Any tigers gonna get you lately?
Snoop Dogg shared my video in 2016, 50 Cent and Cheech Chan about the guy dancing then being chased by tigers video.
I've seen that one. Yes, that's very.
Gotta watch out for them tigers.
Yeah. That's what Tiger's Woods' wife said. Better watch out for those tigers. Do you like golf at all, Frankie? Are you a golf fan?
I watched. I played mini putt in 2001.
That was the last time you played mini putt.
Back in a while ago now.
Yeah, my wife and I have an ongoing competition on mini golf. I beat her 2 out of 3 times in the entire time we've been together. We only have like once a year we play each other in it, and I kick her ass typically. I guess not if I've only beat her twice out of 3. But the only time she's beat me, I was very intoxicated, and I was under an overpass in Universal Studios. Long story short, I was drunk. But,
still counts.
Still,
maybe that's got to be your tactic.
Guess
Get
I'm winning.
hammered and then win. You know.
Yeah, that's how I make babies with her. I get her hammered. I went to the show. We got about 20 minutes left, and so if the cameras are still on. Frankie, do you have any brothers or sisters, or you're an only child?
They're in the other side of Canada, out west.
You have siblings out west. Okay. Are they older or younger?
They're older.
Okay. And so you had a campaign going a few months ago for your dad, right? For a fundraiser for him, and that was pretty successful, right? You did pretty good in that?
Yes.
And the reason was you were just trying to get him. So what happened? Give us the full story. Was he like laid off or
laid off and things like that?
Okay, and everyone got together and Frankie put together this kind of a GoFundMe type thing together for his dad, and you raised a pretty good amount of money for him, huh?
Yes.
There you go.
And I was on the news too.
Good for you. And that is exactly what, like, using your, I guess you could say, celebrity to help benefit people, and you helped your father, and I'm sure he was very appreciative of it, and people were...
In year 2019, Base Guy started GoFundMe to get Frankie down MSI Titan GT76. In 2019, it was successful as well.
There you go. So if anyone could learn from Mr. MacDonald over here is that you can use your fame in a more positive way to help people instead of just going to space for 3 minutes.
I was just gonna say go to space and slave drive your employees. Right?
Did you see the Jeff Bezos go to space the other day? Did you watch it?
Then he made it back to Earth.
How did you feel about that?
Great.
Would you now, if you had an opportunity to go into space for 3 minutes, would you go?
Anytime soon, one of these days.
Yeah. So if they were like, "Hey, let's Frankie, we're gonna take you up there," you wouldn't be afraid. You wouldn't be nervous to go up there, right?
You won't be nervous because when you go up in space, that's a fun thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not.
so.
I'm not doubting it's not gonna be fun. I'd be a little nervous though. I'm a little. I mean, getting on an airplane sometimes freaks me out. Never alone going 50 miles into the into space.
Actually, I think at least if you're on a space shuttle and it goes bad, hopefully, fingers crossed, it goes bad really fast and then it's over. Not like a plane where you got to wait at least a couple minutes to
you hit a mountain or the ocean. Yeah, that's true. Frankie, have you been on an airplane before, I'm assuming?
No, I've never been on the airplane. I've never been on the space shuttle either.
No, I would imagine not. If you have, that would be actually more impressive. I'd be very impressed if you were been on the space shuttle. But one of the remaining space shuttles is it in the Smithsonian in D.C.? One of the museums have like old shuttle that they had preserved, and you can actually check it out and stuff like that. But Frankie, when was the last time you were in the United States?
Never. I've never been to Mexico. I've never been to Europe. I've never been to Asia, Africa, Oceania, and South America, even Antarctica.
If you had to pick one place you would really like to go, what would be your number one place you'd like to go?
USA and UK.
Okay. Which should be pretty accessible to get to if you needed to.
Yeah.
So you never been?
I got a lot of fans in UK too.
Oh, I imagine. So you never been to the United States. So when you get here eventually, which is inevitably you will, where's your first stop? I'm assuming New York City is probably going to be number one on your list or close to it.
All over the world.
Yeah. Well, you got to start somewhere, right? So
yes.
Good for you. Have you left? How many provinces have you been to in Canada? I should say. Other than
I've been to Newfoundland, New Brunswick, PEI.
Okay. How about have you been to Quebec or Ontario at all?
I never been in outside line to Canada.
So have you been to an Ottawa's game live?
No.
Oh,
I was at the Cape Breton Eagles hockey game. I was at the NBL Canada live too.
Nice. All right, so someone's got to take this guy to an Ottawa's game. I mean,
and
you probably.
What about the Russia's KHL game?
Oh, you've seen a KHL game?
No.
Oh, you haven't? No. Yeah.
I never saw the Olympics in person, both summer nor winter.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people haven't either. I guess if it was in my town, I'd probably see it. If one of the, because I guess the last time the Olympics were in Canada was Vancouver, right? But that's like the other side.
Vancouver 2010.
And that's on the other side. I can imagine that being a task. I've
We're
Googled.
gonna get you out, Frank.
I've
Googled.
Googled.
You out to these.
Well, you know what I appreciate is like Sydney, Nova Scotia. I've Googled it before, and I wanted to get an idea where exactly it was located. And it's actually like
Eastern Canada.
Yeah, and it's like a nice little community. It looks like a cool little spot, which is like chill. It's out of the
Yeah.
And I would imagine why you wouldn't want to leave that, because in honesty, you didn't have to fucking worry about.
A lot of people went out west to work.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because steel plants shut down in July 2001.
Oh, okay. And so that was like a major source of income for most people over in your area?
Sydney, Nova Scotia, a lot of people used to go to Sydney to work back then.
Okay. So that happens, and then everything moves. We've seen communities like that happen. So Frankie, obviously you're an online celebrity worldwide, if you will.
What about the countries that don't even speak English? Professional translator required.
But people do appreciate you in those countries as well, too. I'm sure you get views from countries that don't speak English, right?
You need a professional translator for that.
Yeah. But conveniently, most countries do speak a little bit of English, so I mean, you could be able to fake it till you make it if you needed to. I don't think you would have too much of a problem. Do you have everything set up for this world tour yet? Do you have like people you're going with? You don't know yet. Okay. But you have your book, right? What's your book again? Show everyone your book. So
Yeah, show us your book, man.
Be prepared to Frank Guide Life Letter Diary. It's written by Sarah Sauer. People can get them on Amazon.
There you go.
Awesome.
Be prepared on Amazon. Get it while it's hot. I admire anyone who can write a book, because to me, writing something that's
Let's
even.
do a picture.
I like that picture. It's actually, I like the umbrella being
picture.
inverted and then the
Screenshot.
bobblehead doll. So look at this guy marketing
This guy,
101.
marketing.
I appreciate this. What I mean? I wish I had as much effort as you did to market anything, because it's I'm impressed. All right, so get pre-prepared on Amazon. Frankie MacDonald. Get his bobblehead. He has his link underneath the thing. We'll post it in the YouTube description below, and obviously in the podcast as well. Frankie, before we let you go, is there anything else you want to say to the United States and beyond?
Best of luck, yeah. I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to the Arty 84 show. If you want to follow my social media, go to Linktree Frankie MacDonald.
Awesome. Frankie, thank you for so much for joining us tonight. I know it's a little late over there in
Best
Nova
luck, yeah,
Scotia.
I'm Frankie MacDonald.
Stay in touch. We'll talk to you soon. And when you come to United States, let us know. We'd love to have you here in Boston. So.
Already gone. Already
gone. Pleasantries were just were wasted with him. I gotta say, the guy knows how to market, right?
I wonder though if you know what though, dude. I feel kind of sad. I wonder if he's like being coached and being used.
You think so? Well, that's what I asked him if he was making any money on the bobbleheads in the book, because when we talked to Skippy a little while ago, he was obviously making all these views, but the monetization wasn't there, and you helped him out. You spent many sleepless nights talking to the guy to get him going, because we're good people. We don't like to see people be taken advantage of, and that's why I was very concerned about, because I've seen this guy.
I just wonder if someone's chirping in his ear and
Yeah.
it's just like, do this. Like
I hope not.
I mean, it's what I feel like, because
Yeah.
Frankie. I mean, he seems like a genuinely nice guy, but
I agree.
obviously he can't put this all together on his own. So somebody has to be coaching him, and I wonder like if they're using him. I don't know, just the way he talks, and it's like everything sounds like rehearsed, like he knows what to do and say. But I don't know if it's his own thinking. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I agree with you. And obviously I've seen him probably a lot more than you have, just because of the show I watch that he's on all the time. And I got to say, the guys on that show do seem genuine with him. They seem like they try to help him and stuff like that. They don't seem like they're trying to take advantage of him. Yeah. It's Gino Bisconti and Aaron Berg, and they do In Hot Water on Anthony Cumia's network. And they seem like legit guys. They bring him on. They let him talk. And they don't bust his balls. Good. They kind of just let it roll. You know what I mean? Kind of like we just did, which is cool. Because, I mean, because otherwise you're just a piece of shit if you're doing anything else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you live with yourself. But if, in fact, people are coaching them and people are manipulating them and taking advantage of them, I just think, honestly, it's just – I think it's just human – I mean, you aren't the nicest people in the world, but just our human, like, nature, that's just fucked up if you're doing that. You know what I mean?
There's a special place in hell for you. That's you.
No, that is the truth. That is true the case. And, like, politicians and stuff, you know what I mean? It's like there's a special place in hell that for taking advantage of people who aren't able to – I wouldn't say defend themselves, but able to make reasonable logic decisions without someone helping them along the way. Yeah. It's kind of like kind of like the Britney Spears shit, right? With like the conservative ship and like the father not letting her move, but it's like the opposite, right? It's like the father's not letting her do anything, but like someone's maybe puppeting Frankie and making him do stuff.
Someone's pulling the strings,
which is both are fucked. But
to answer your question, though, a little off topic, but not really, because we actually have 4 space shuttles in museums around this country.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
we have Atlantis, Discovery, Endeavour, and Enterprise, and 3 out of the 4 are on the East Coast. I did not know this.
Well, I'm going to go on a limb and say, Adam, the reason there's only 4 of them is because 2 of them blew up.
I was just going to say that. I was like, I know you're going to. I shouldn't even be fucking laughing. I mean,
it's terrible. But I mean, one.
I know.
But that's pretty good odds. In 30 something years of them flying, right? One blew up going to space, and one blew up coming home, but 4 survived.
It's true.
And do you know a fun fact about the Endeavour? That was actually a backup that they actually ended up using. They were going to use that for parts. They had built 6 of them. I think the Endeavour was actually just going to be potted out if they needed replacement parts for other space shuttles, and they actually ended up just using it because, well, they lost Challenger, and then Columbia didn't quite make it home in one piece.
Yeah, one's in California, one's near New York City, one is in Washington, and another one in Florida. So
so I'm assuming the Florida one's probably in their Cape Canaveral. The one in DC is probably in the Smithsonian. I think the one in New York, is that like down in like New York City on like the pier, like the naval pier or something like that?
You're close, you're very close. It's right behind the Garment District, like right along the Intrepid Sea Air and Space Museum.
Exactly.
Kind of his Hell's Kitchen.
It's in the big boat that's there, the Intrepid, the USS Intrepid's over there and stuff. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I always thought it was pretty impressive when they put the space shuttle on the back of a 747 and they used to fly it, because like sometimes you couldn't land the space shuttle in Florida because of weather, so they flew it. They landed in the desert, but you still had to get it back to Florida, and obviously you couldn't just put it on the road, so they put it on the back of a 747 and would fly it. Like that to me, that was fucking blew my mind when I used to see that shit. And to me, the shuttle seemed it seemed efficient because you weren't you were flying like an airplane or a glider when it came into the atmosphere, but apparently you used so much fuel. It was less efficient to get up there, I guess. I don't know.
Well, interestingly enough, we have it's like almost looks like a smaller version of the space shuttle. It's called the X-37B.
Okay.
It's owned by the United States Air Force, and it flies around the Earth for a couple years at a time. It's classified what it does. It's one of ours.
Interesting.
We don't know.
Can it dock to the space station at all?
It's classified. No,
Yeah,
it takes off. It lands every once in a while. It's all we know. It's sanctioned by the Air Force. They think it's to test sensors, but nobody truly knows what it does.
Yeah.
You can look it up if you want. It's that much is known.
And how do you feel about China having their own space station, not being part of the international space station community?
I mean, every country has a right to do that, but still at the same time, because it's China, it makes you worry.
Makes you worry a little bit, right? I mean, it kind of goes back to like Sputnik, when like it was just basically a beacon that was orbiting the Earth. It was nothing more than a little communication satellite, but people were freaking the fuck out in the 50s when that thing was flying around and over the United States, right? Because it's like,
yep.
Because how much does a country own into the sky? That's a good question. I wonder how much. Like, what is the limit of height a country has occupation? Because now you got to think of it in 3 dimensionals, right? Because you can only go so high, and then you're obviously in space. But like, how high could you build a building? How high can you fly your planes? How high could you be within your bubble?
Yeah, it's true.
Is there an international height restriction?
As we get more advanced, they have to really figure that out, because there could be wars over that.
Yeah,
there really could.
I mean, a country could occupy the space above you, in sense, and not be in the wrong, because it's
true.
Scary shit. It's fucking scary. We have to worry about that shit, huh?
That is.
And you know the Chinese space station has fucking guns and missiles in it, right? You know they're aiming right at. You gotta know they got something crazy going up. They're not just up there eating fucking Chinese food, enjoying the view. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And know what's scary is the amount of space shit that's out there, like garbage, just orbiting the world. Like it's amazing that like shit can launch into space without crashing into something, spinning at 2,000 miles per hour.
I think we'll see one major catastrophe in space where people actually die in outer space. Not an entry or re-entry like a shuttle. I
just
mean
like something hits
orbiting. Yeah, like something. I'm actually shocked it hasn't happened yet.
I do know that the space station does have like some kind of radar system, and they do have boosters that could push it up and down, left or right. Because essentially when you're in orbit, you're essentially falling. I guess that's the technicality of it. And then every once in a while you got to get boosted back up to not fall, I guess, to keep yourself at a height that's not burning into the fucking atmosphere, which I find is fucking fascinating. But yeah, I guess that's the only way you can orbit the Earth is you would need a velocity pulling you in a direction in order to spin, because you just can't. You just couldn't circle because you'd fly out. I guess that Adam, that's if satellites really do exist.
It's true.
Who knows?
Those are two. By the way, though, it's funny because it went. Bezos and Branson went around 50 miles into space, but like, you know how far up the satellites orbit? 250 miles.
Yeah, which is about right.
Up. So that's like, oh wow, they went 50 miles up, but 250 fucking miles up.
So in perspective, 50 miles is about to Worcester from Boston, and 200 miles is to like New York City from Boston. So like and you look at the map, it's like, well, that's pretty impressive, that distance, but like obviously going to New York is a lot further away than Worcester. So is it that impressive? I just think it's fascinating that they spent all that money just to go into fucking space for 3 minutes and then didn't go anywhere. It's one thing, like again, we're repeating ourselves, but it would have been more impressive if they went somewhere. Yeah. Like to the moon, to the space station, if they just orbit the Earth a couple times and came back down, you know?
It's amazing to me. You're 250 miles above the Earth on a satellite, but like that's still in orbit. Like you're still in orbit around the Earth, and that it takes. I'm reading right here. 250 miles up. It takes 90 minutes for it to go around the Earth. That's it. Hour and a half, and you're 250 miles up.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird because I was looking into the details of the construction of their capsule, and it had no heat shields because it was going to be hitting a velocity coming into like an atmosphere that would need heat shields to like prevent it from burning up as it was re-landing. And I mean, it was basically, you went up and went down. So there's a specific reason why they didn't go up to a certain point, because now you need to reconstruct your capsule to be more rigid and more durable, and to re-enter in a atmosphere at accelerated speed. There's a whole different level of technology that has to change. Essentially, they're going up like a weather balloon, and coming back down. I mean, yes, still impressive, still fairly fascinating, but like you said, it's like, well, I would have been more impressed if they were like, well, we flew up, we connected with something, or we just went up and we orbited for a little bit, not just like an amusement park ride.
Like a minute, yeah.
Yeah, it's like going up like on Space Mountain. They were up in space the same amount of time I was on Space Mountain in Disney World. You know what I mean? And it costs way a lot. And Disney's expensive, but it costs way a lot more money than fucking Space Mountain. I don't know. Whatever. I don't give a shit. It's their money. Spend it the way you want to do. I'm all about capitalism. I got in an argument with someone about capitalism the other day at work, and they're like, "You like capitalism?" I go, yes. And I go, and the girl's like, "What?" She was like 18 years old. And I go, I'll tell you why. I go, because I like the ability that I could start a business, I could create a product, I could make as much money as I want. No one can really tell me how much more money I can make or how big of a business I want to do. But I have that ability. Yes, it's a small percentage of people to have that ability, to have a business that's successful, but the ability is still there. It's kind of winning the lottery, right? It's like playing a scratch ticket, but you may not win. You may win a couple bucks. But if I didn't have that opportunity, what would push people to want to create ideas and create products? Holy shit! How did you get up there?
Oh, dude, it's like I can't.
Do you know what's funny? Is the fire extinguisher that would not work in space. That is the funniest thing right there, because the way a fire extinguisher work is it uses CO2 to put out fires, and CO2 would not work in a CO2 fire extinguisher would not work in space. You would just have the particles of the foam spreading everywhere and wouldn't actually put the fire out. But
have you ever seen what fire looks like at zero gravity? Dude, it looks like just oil or water going across
liquid
surface.
Fire.
It's crazy.
Fucked. That's why fire in space is the number one most dangerous thing you could have.
Whoa.
And that fire.
Bill Cosby in space.
Bill Cosby, all the Jello pudding you can eat in space.
Ashley Jello's great in space.
Mr. Cosby, a quick question. Do you have ruffians up there in space for the ladies?
Well, you see, there's not many females up here.
No, obviously, it doesn't look like it.
So I usually roofie myself and try to jerk off before I fall asleep.
Kind of looks like you're in a hospital, like a emergency room, but it looks like there's a stretcher behind you. That couch looks very uncomfortable. I've slept on one of those before. You have bags that aren't floating, so they're not securely put fastened either. So apparently they're not expecting to have zero gravity at any point in time. But maybe they were. Maybe they're Velcroed down. Who knows? What do I know? The fire.
I thought the headset helped.
Yeah. No. Hey, listen. I like the color tone. What's that say in the very back? It says like something like written on the wall.
I don't know.
There's the American flag. There's a little window. There's like a white thing hanging to your right.
Is this a tanning thing?
It looks like a tanning bed. Yeah, the tanning bed at the gym we go to looks similar to what the room you're in right now, except hey, beats my fake brick wall, I guess you could say, and my seats that go in and out. So I don't know. It is what it is. But all right. So I'd say that was a very interesting show. Big thanks to Frankie MacDonald for joining us. I really hope he makes it out of. I feel like he has these ambitions to travel the world, which is great because a lot of people do. You've been around the world. You've been to 3 different continents, right? North America, South America, Africa. No, 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. So you've been.
Actually, I got 2 left.
So you just gotta get to.
I still have Antarctica and Asia, the only 2 I have left to go to.
Have you been to Europe? Oh yeah, you went to Iceland. Yeah. So you've been to so you're a well-traveled individual.
It's been a while, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean that's more than I've only been to 2 continents. But Frankie MacDonald has all his ambitions to go on his world tour. So I hope somewhere down I hope this guy gets out of Nova Scotia and gets to travel at least to the United States. I'm sure there's plenty of people down here, including ourselves, would be more than happy to show him around and stuff like this. But check out Frankie MacDonald on YouTube. I'm sure you guys are, if you're watching this show, you've probably already seen him on YouTube. So it's kind of inevitable, redundant for us to be promoting a guy who's a little more popular than we are. and who's probably the most popular person we've had in the show in the history of us being on, which doesn't say much for us, but says great things for Frankie. So thanks, Frankie, for joining us. And Adam, Whirlwind Potato.
You can go check out the World Potato on YouTube.
There you go.
Go for it.
And you can check me out on various YouTube pages, including this one as well, that you're watching. Oh, by the way, I should say this before we start the show. If you've made it this far, you probably should subscribe at this point, because you're an hour into it. So, I mean, we just do this every week. Wicked Explorers, my family's YouTube page, and you get us on the Wicked Bricksters, which is the Lego page. So, and then, of course, the ID84 show with Adam the Mallet. We have guests lined up for the next few weeks, so you will be entertained. And maybe we'll get the Elder Mallet on the show eventually. We're still working on that.
Right.
So
I will.
there you go. And if you go into Tia's in Boston, do no longer ask for Danger Powers, because he's not there anymore, because he officially retired.
For now.
No. I made a comment on his Facebook page. I said something about, well, it's nice for you to quit on your own devices without Katie shit-canning you like she usually does. And many people found that very hilarious, because it's the truth. So it is what it is. But we'll leave you at this, and we'll see you guys next week. Toodaloo. Bye.
Bye.